All right, we got the slobber cleaned up off of the floor here in the studio, and I'm joined now by Liliana Valderrama. Liliana, thank you so much for being here with us. You are the Michigan Volunteer Coordinator with the Young Center, and I've been reading all about the really incredible work that the organization does. But for anyone who has not heard of the Young Center, what is the nonprofit all about?
Yes, of course. So I just want to mention firstly that we are celebrating our 20th year of service this year, so that's really exciting.
Yeah.
And what the Young Center does is we advocate for kids that are facing deportation proceedings.
Gotcha.
And these kids, they're considered unaccompanied minors, and during custody, they're separated from their guardians, their parents, their support systems.
Sure.
So what we do is we try to provide them with a volunteer child advocate who can help them navigate this very difficult time in their lives. So,
and that was my next question. I mean, I'm sure that is, especially for a young child, an incredibly difficult situation. What, in your experience, is that like to be going through that process for kids?
Incredibly isolating. You're in a different country, you don't speak the language, you're away from your loved ones, you feel alone, so we find volunteers who are willing to visit with them 1 hour per week. They share language, they share culture. They can build a rapport and learn a little bit about the kid and what they want in their lives, so that they have a voice when these decision makers make the decisions about their lives.
And these are children who are most often in a shelter or some sort of similar situation.
They're in government custody because they're considered unaccompanied. They're alone, and so and our volunteers they go in there and they play games with them. They do crafts. They tell them stories, help them with English. There's a million ways to connect with a child.
Absolutely. And I know that what we had heard about was your anniversary, which you mentioned, but you guys are also always looking for additional volunteers to be that child advocate. Obviously, this is a big undertaking. This isn't, something willy-nilly to sign up for. What does that process look like as far as becoming that advocate, and then what is the responsibility there?
Yes, that's a great question. So we're constantly looking for volunteers. We opened this office last year, so we're a new program. We look for people that are 21 years and older. We would love for you to be bilingual, specifically a Spanish speaker or maybe a speaker of an indigenous language of Central America. We need French speakers, Haitian Creole speakers. And you need to commit 12 months to visit a child in custody and detention and build a rapport with them, and then let us know what they want in their lives. Maybe they want to become a dentist. Maybe they want to go back home to home country. And we just want to make sure that their voices are heard when those decisions are made.
Yeah, really advocate is the crucial word there. You're there for them to support them in whatever they want to do moving forward. And so this is a 12-month commitment, as you mentioned, and is it 1 hour a week?
It's 1 hour a week, and we do have a 2-day training coming up here in Grand Rapids, May 3rd and May 4th. If you're interested possibly in becoming a volunteer, you can always go to theyoungcenter.org, click on volunteer, and there's going to be an application there, and you'll get a call from me, and we'll go through the process together.
Are there any, restrictions or qualifications? Obviously, as you mentioned, speaking a second language of the ones you mentioned is very helpful. Anything else, that might not work for someone, or any other just responsibility that comes along with signing up for that?
Yes, we get people from all walks of life. We have nurses, lawyers, custodians. You do not have to be a lawyer. You do not have to be an immigration expert. You just kind of have to have a big heart and some space in your life for somebody who needs it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we just popped it up on the screen, but I want to, if we can take that graphic once more, guys. That training that you mentioned, May 3rd and 4th, so less than a month from now, that's here in Grand Rapids. And ahead of time, you do need to complete the Volunteer Child Advocate application. That's due on the 16th, which is just next week. That application, is that sort of a more extensive application? Can you describe what that's like?
Yeah, we just want to know what your motivations are to work with this population and to get to know a little bit more about you. And there is a little bit more of a process, but once you decide that this is something you'd like to do, we walk you through it.
And in your experience, providing a child with someone who's really there in their corner and there to listen, what can the impact be for, a child who's going through so much?
It's immeasurable. I mean, they feel alone, they feel isolated, far away from home. They get to be with an adult who is just there to listen to them. They get to share language and culture and spend that hour however way that the child wants to spend that hour, which is very important. Our volunteers can also accompany them to court. Because we don't want them to feel alone.
A long and difficult process as well. On the volunteer aspect, a volunteer who goes through this process and is that advocate, what's sort of the benefits you've seen on the other side of that?
Growth.
Yeah.
All the volunteers tell me that they can't imagine not being helpful, not having gotten to know this child and their story. Everything is so specific. Every case is so unique and different.
Of course.
And it's incredibly rewarding.
Yeah, so rewarding on both sides.
Absolutely.
Really.
Absolutely.
Very cool. Okay, well, thank you so much for walking us through this. And that 20th anniversary, as you mentioned sort of at the beginning, that's also a huge deal that you guys have been around for 2 decades and helping children across the state of Michigan. Anything else to mention on that point, just about how the organization has grown over those years?
Yes, absolutely. We have helped 7,000 children from over 70 countries in the world. So we are absolutely making an impact. And if volunteering to be a child advocate, you may not have the time for that. There's other ways. You can donate. You can help us by creating like dinner parties and just telling people about what we do.
Yeah, even if that longer commitment maybe isn't right for you, there's other ways that you can help through the work that you guys do. And just best way to learn more about the Young Center. I know you guys have a great website, social media, and obviously there's folks like you who people can talk to and ask more questions if maybe they're interested in this but have some more questions or details that they're looking to learn.
Yes, absolutely. Go ahead and fill out that application form on theyoungcenter.org and you will absolutely get a call from me.
Definitely. Liliana, thank you so much for walking us through this and talking about this incredible opportunity and just talking more about the great work that you guys do here in our community. I really, really appreciate your time. We are going to take a brief